Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Theory. So, emotional ley lines. I know I haven't done a few posts in quite a few weeks, and that is mainly because I thought I would need to take a break for a while, even after the last post that sounded like I'm gonna be stepping away for a while. Because I did make two of them, so it's gonna take me a bit of vlogs to get my language rolling, because I have still been, I haven't forgot about you guys. I have still been building information behind what I usually talk about on the relationship theory. So I do have a lot of information I still want to give you guys. It's just going to take some time to get back to the language, because I haven't done a few vlogs in a while, so it's slowed down. And yeah, these next few vlogs up until we can get back to speed is going to be all about that. I'm going to continue to try to do the vlogs, and I'm going to let my intellect catch up with my language and my use of it, so that it can be easier to tell you guys what I've been telling you guys. Because once I reduce down to the 3-minute things, which I hope to actually get back into, because that was the efficient use of my storytelling, show telling for the vlogs and what I've really made to talk about. So with that, I think that covers that. Let's get back into it. Emotional ley lines. So where I'm going to drop this conversation now, because I've led most of my vlogs by the emotional, and I tried to keep it on a level where sex wasn't something that didn't need to be talked about, because you can get it energetically. But I'm going to have to now, because sex is the portal. Sex is the portal. You're still a thinking mind even when you're sexual. So you have a socialized element to you when you're communicating sexually with everybody and everything. So it can still be sexual. It just stems from sexual energy, right? A friendly gesture can stem from sexual energy, but you still be a thinking being, okay? So we don't have to do anything rash. And by anything rash, mainly in the thinking world, you don't have to imagine circumstances that don't really match the reality that you want, okay? So, emotional ley line, sex is the portal, because over time, the idea that a woman has to give herself access to a man is now being reduced to anyone who can give anybody access. I know you see street signs and pathways when we have to cross streets and avoid cars. The thing that I want us to pay attention to, though, is that in the emotional world, in the spiritual world, and especially in the intellectual world, those highways are just information bits, and there is no collision. There's absolutely zero collision. So with thinking, there's zero collision in your life. I'm gonna just put it like that. So anyone can touch you if they truly want to, and that's because they thought about you enough. But thinking in itself has zero collision. So that means if you are using sexual energy, but you're still thinking while you're using your sexual energy, and I mainly mean you just expressing yourself normally, just as you would among 2 to 10 people, like just generally. If you're just going about your day and you see the same 5 people, how are you going to treat yourself? How are you going to embody that? So those zero collision thinking patterns that you have, along with your sexual nature, is important for 2 reasons. One, you have a portal in your body that has zero collision, meaning if you're thinking of a thing and you want to go somewhere, the likelihood that things are not going to happen in your favor is is actually just impossible, because in your world and in your experience, whether or not the pathway goes up or down in your life, you're still going to get this meaning that directs your steps. And that'll just be the part where thinking takes place. It just knows itself as something else, which is sensational. Now, we all know if you're going to be using sexual energy, anything that's going to be transmitted can, at its base, be known as sensational, because it is a sensational experience that you're having with your body. Lots of other people would use kinesthetics, and that idea that it's the sensations around touch that heighten your sense of what's around you and your future. And yeah, that is what it is. If you're being sexual and you still have a thinking nature along with that, the other reason why this is important is because your sexual nature is much better tied to your ego and who you are as your known name. Okay, so if you can let your thinking nature get in touch with your sexual nature on the other end, you now have a really fully embodied human being, right? And a lot, like does your thinking has zero collision idea, it has less impact when I say it. And the reason why it was good to mention is just so that you can see that down there, sexual energy itself has a sexual nature, and thinking has a nature because it's tied to you and your sexual nature, right? So your ego and who you know yourself as is your sexual energy and your thinking energy. So if you ever wanted to know why people come across your life, it is literally because of these energetic ley lines. That's a path. Those are poles. Electromagnetically, they're poles inside your body. You're a literal frequency. It's just the reason why all of these vlogs have been continually talking about, at this rate, electromagnesis and getting into it, is because it's, as I'm experiencing it is literally the space and distance between me and somebody with which I can communicate with them. So it's like having a phone ad hoc. Like I am my own wireless walking signal for the people I'm trying to communicate with in my life and transmute information to. So you can see where this goes in the health field immediately, because you're like, well, then sicknesses really do come from people who think they carry sicknesses, because then the intention sexually is to transmit sicknesses. And yes, that's exactly what that is. So imagine if someone was trying to give you wealth, prosperity, joy, love, and freedom. These are not just words you say sensationally. You feel them because you know them. That is what ties you to the experiences you think that you have with people. So that's really where we want to look when it comes to electromagnesis, emotional ley lines, because honestly, our relationship with technology is starting to stem in a way where personally I can see it socially. I can see when a sign of attraction is that a girl is holding her phone in a certain way, whether she's pointing it at you or pointing it in your general direction. On top of that, though, more importantly, you want to see body language typically, right? It's just when you're in your ideas of sexual energy and having a thinking nature and also having a sexual nature tied to the thinking nature, it's like you could understand why it's still possible to be socialized no matter how much sexual energy you emit. This is what I'm trying to get at here. So those highly sexual people is Think and Grow Rich talk about that are, let's see, burned at the stake. They describe that same thing that I'm describing here, right? And what I'm trying to say is there's no reason to keep people from feeling as energetically expressive as they are sexually, because along with a thinking nature, that doesn't go anywhere other than you transmitting energy you intend to transmit. And that's the really important word here, because as much as knowing your two electromagnetic poles, what does that really do for me? Well, the thing that it does for you is let you know how to send energy, not just receive it all the time. Because if you think about it, In this world, we have poles for like cellular service and those wooden posts for telephone lines. And it's like, yeah, but that's for like just having energy pass through you, but you're not doing anything with any of it. Right. It's just with electromagnesis, I'm saying the responsibility is not only on you to receive signals, but to send them too. Life's about sending signals, basically. And the only way to do that is to get in touch with your sexual nature. If you don't know your sexual nature, you don't have a way to transmit energy out of you. So think about it. If your sexual nature can be blended with your thinking nature and you have the capacity to be sending information all day, then that means that that concern with children or just the undesirable goes away, because you're not your idea of a society and a civilization doesn't coincide with this hyperactive habit of keeping kids safe and keeping people safe. It's like we're still thinking beings here. And all this is to describe a more socialized life. We have technology that really helps us see our future and see the future. And phones are a great part of that. It's just like that exposure that people talk about that could happen because we're always on our phones all the time. It's like, yeah, but that energy still goes somewhere, and humans can recycle anything they want if they just use their minds. I just personally call it electromagnesis. So, in short, emotional ley lines are your transmitter signals in your body. You say you want things in your life all the time. And I mean, even down to the most basic, you have that ability to send out that signal in yourself. All your life experiences are going to do is show you the pathway on up to what you were sending signals on and out about. So that's this description, and that's this episode of The Relationship Theory. Thank you all for joining in. That was a fun 12 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your day.